Well, it really goes back to what happened during the pandemic, which was in March 2020, when the owners dropped the news about shutting down and laying everyone off by that following Wednesday, 4 or 5 days later.
There was just a shock. I just didn't expect quite so much, quite so fast.
At the very time when a pandemic is hitting your community, all of us were just devastated to share that news with the public that Isthmus was shutting down. What happened next was that Friday, Dylan Brogan and I tried to figure this thing out. I do think it was within a couple of weeks that Jeff, former owner, did find this reader donation program. People did respond with donations. I think it did give us confidence that there would be reader support for our work. The former owners said, we do not see a way forward. Dylan and I said, well, would you support the transition to a nonprofit? Essentially, 4 of us worked 1 year pretty much on a volunteer basis.
Judy asked, who would be on board, and I said yes, because how could I say no? I just tried to concentrate on getting content out.
It was definitely nerve-wracking, so staying home and working on that seemed like a good plan to try to keep it going. If there was any way we were going to keep it going, this was the group of people to do it.
We were able to rise out of the ashes. When we got that first print issue out in August, we were all at the warehouse at 7 o'clock, and the papers are on the pallets, and there was definitely a lot of joy.
Isthmus has always been an alternative news weekly. But the other thing that's true is that Madison's sort of an alternative town itself. So we're the mainstream for people who think a little bit alternatively here. I was an intern for Isthmus. Senior year at UW, worked as a news intern for Bill Leaders and worked on a story on legalizing marijuana. Having something in Isthmus was just kind of cool because I felt like I was playing with the grown-ups at that point. Isthmus has a tradition of quality of writing, certainly reporting, but then polishing that story, taking the extra time.
The stories are written in a way that I hope allow people to read with ease. That is very important to me. I think that's about the writing and the editing.
I'm constantly looking for stories to see an empty storefront, what's going in there. Or you're talking to a clerk at a counter, ask a few questions because one question will lead to another. Generally, curiosity is what drives any story.
I do a lot of looking for things. It really is just a lot of work. I don't feel like local music tends to get a lot of attention otherwise, and the calendar's kind of a good way to get that out there. I just think it's important for the community to have a service like this, essentially. With media kind of gradually disappearing over the last decade or so, especially print, I feel like at some point somebody has to stand up and say we're not going to go away.
Growing up here, it made me love Madison and everything about it, and also really care about this place. Journalism is absolutely a social good. You're trying to inform the people and let them be able to participate, and people really value that. It doesn't seem like a big deal unless you don't have it at all. And then it's a big deal because bad things happen in the dark.
What we are doing is essential in many ways, and it's essential to many people. And if we inform the community about things that we think are important, the thing that we hear most from people is, well, Isthmus tells us what to do. They tell us what's important that's going on in the arts and culture of the city.
At the end of the day, people need good information from a trusted person whose only objective is to tell them the truth. It's the only way democracy functions. It's the only way that powerful people are held accountable and the voices of people who aren't heard are heard, and positive change is brought to this world.
One of our challenges is explaining to people that Isthmus is new and that we are a nonprofit and that we are supported by readers. It's much more of a direct appeal to people in the community to say, if you think it's important to have journalists looking at the kinds of stories that Isthmus has looked at for 45 years, please donate. Please help us do this work. Please pay our reporters to continue doing their job. Because we're an independent community paper, it works as an advertising product. It brings people into your door. We know who they are. We have a relationship with them, and they respect what we do. And we respect the audience that we bring. Madison is changing and facing new challenges. Isthmus has changed, and we're figuring out those changes with our readers and with our community.